Welcome everyone to Subpar Sunday. You're with the Hophead Connisaur, along with my co-star Coney here for today's beer review of a crappy domestic beer. Now you're probably thinking, there's no glass, there's no bottle, there's no can in front of us. So what are we doing here today? We're going to get to that. Anyway, disclaimer, just know that any beer reviews that I do here on the Subpar Sunday are just my opinions about these crappy domestic beers. And I mean, I grew up drinking them. There are some people today that just like domestic beers. They don't want to try craft beers. They're so set in their minds that domestic is all for them. That's fine. Everybody's entitled to their own taste of beers. Now, I drank these a lot when I was younger. It was cheap. You could go out and buy a 12-pack for under $10. You go out and buy a case for under $20, and even today you can buy 30 packs for under $20. Now, for me, if I went out and spent $20, that might get me a 6-pack. And you're probably thinking, that's a lot of money for craft beer. Well, the thing is when you're buying a 12-pack, a 24-pack, a 30-pack, you're drinking those beers to get drunk. And you're drinking those beers probably with friends, or you're just drinking them all by yourself. Craft beers, you're not drinking craft beers to get drunk. You're drinking them to enjoy the flavors. And that's the thing with most craft beers. There's flavor with it. Flavor. There's no flavor in domestic beers. It's like water. It's got a little flavor. It's a little bit of flavor to it, but not flavor. And you're probably thinking, they're probably both the same. No, they're not the same. Drink an IPA sometime and you'll see the difference. Drink a stout sometime, you'll see the difference. Drink a sour sometimes, you'll see the difference. So anyway, Cody's been getting out this weekend. Friday, we went to a brewery, made a friend up there. Triceratops came over and got in one of our beer photos. So I think now when we go back to this particular brewery, he will be seeing him more. If we do more photos up there. And then that night we went out to another brewery and he was actually in a beer photo. So this little guy's been getting around. Didn't have any incidents this past week at Coastal, thankfully. Like last week, he spilled the beer, was found on the counter with an empty glass. Then he was found on the floor with an empty glass. So, trying to pull the reins back on him and everything. So what are we going to be talking about today's crappy domestic beer? Well, let's bring this into picture. Icehouse. You're probably thinking, yep, I drank that when I was younger. Yes. 5.5% lager. And it is a ice beer. Now, you're probably thinking, ice beer, what's that mean? Just kind of give a quick synopsis. Right before it's aged, they actually drop the temperature to below freezing. And what that does is once they get down in below freezing, they take the ice off the top, and it's supposed to create, I guess, a better smoothness for the beer and adds a little bit more alcohol content. So you think about this, 5.5%. I mean, it's decently high. And now you're thinking, well, we have the beer. What are we pouring this into? Well, I have these. I do not drink out of these. Somebody gave them to me because they didn't want them anymore. But it kind of fits probably some of the people that might drink this type of beer of having in this type of glass. A mason jar on a stand, on a stem. Okay. And it's a pretty big stem too. All right. So we are going to be drinking today's beer out of this. All right, so we have a can, and unfortunately, it's so hard to find subpar beers, like singlets. So what I had to do was I had to go to 7-Eleven, and it was a tough choice, man. There were some beers out there. I was like, what beer am I going to do today? And the young lady was like, so having a hard time choosing? And I kind of gave her my back history of the channel and everything. So she's like, good luck. So obviously, pop top. We don't need a can opener or anything for this. So let's go ahead and give our take on Icehouse, this 5.5% lager. Ooh. Oh. And we're going to pour it into our glass here. Oh. Yes. Not bad color. Oh, there it goes. There we go. So here we go. This is our color of Icehouse, our subpar domestic beer. And you can tell it's got a little bit more color than last week's beer. Last week's beer and the previous week's beer seemed to be a little bit more lighter in color. This is a little bit more dark in color. You can probably, I don't know if you can see all the carbonation in it and everything, all the bubbles and all that and everything. So let's go ahead and drink this and see what 20 years ago or 30 years ago was like when I started drinking this. Not bad. Excuse me. Not bad. A lot of carbonation. You got to think. A lot of these beers are highly carbonated. And get the buildup here in your chest. So, last week I put out there I'd do a second swig again. So no. Bottom line, it's got a little bit of a sweet flavor to it. Highly carbonated. I'm not much into the carbonation. Color's not bad. I can still see through it. Almost. You want some, Coney? Huh? You want some? Oh, no? Okay. No, this guy doesn't want any. So, as of last week, we did something on the show that was new. And we're going to do it again today. So, bottoms up to Subpar Sunday. Can't chug that. Oh. Oh. Finished it. Oh God, here it comes. Excuse me. So, no, I'm not going to finish the rest of this. I'll take my chances and just dump it down the drain. Y'all got the show. So again, Icehouse, Subpar Sunday. You might see this again in future episodes. If you haven't liked my channel yet, be sure to click the subscribe button at the bottom. Give me thumbs up. If you have any comments, please leave them behind, and I will review them. And I usually give comments back on anything I review. So here it all comes now, all the carbonation. So anyway, thank you for joining my episode here with Subpar Sunday this Sunday with Icehouse as our choice of beer. Get out there, support your local craft beers, and drink craft beer, not crappy domestic beer. Y'all have a good Sunday, and we'll see you next week on Subpar Sunday.